than my odes I normally do. So, you got me on time with this. The story came to me on the way home from the Rrrantanory telly story here at Coco. I thought I'd have a go, but it's harder writing than writing my odes actually. Really is tough. So this is called The Lottery Win. I hope you enjoy it because I didn't write it. Right. Jimmy was a normal man. He worked 9 to 5 in an office, came home to his adoring wife, and he never really had any excitement in his life until one Friday morning. This Friday morning, Jimmy woke up, looked round, and there was his wife, Jean. She was lying there, snoring her head off from the binge she had the night before. She decided to go out with her friends from the office, on a weeknight too. He can't remember what time she came back, but it was late, but it sounds like she enjoyed herself. He slid out the covers into the freezing room and toddled to the ensuite. Looking in the mirror at himself while brushing his teeth, a glint appeared in his eye. Never done that before, he said. I wonder if it's going to be my day, Jimmy's day. Once he'd done all his ablutions and sorted himself out, he crept across the bedroom and grabbed his clothes off the chair. The duvet moved a bit and the snoring abated. But once all settled again, the snoring started again. Quickly he closed the door behind him and went down the stairs, avoiding the 5th from top rung. This squeaked and could wake the dead. He said to himself, must fix that soon. Entering the kitchen, he noticed it had been tidied. He remembered leaving it in a state last night, with all the takeaways and wrappers lying around, and thinking that he would clean it up the next day. As his missus was out, he thought it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a bit of a takeaway and a few beers. Note to self, he said. Flowers for Jean for tidying the kitchen after me, he said. He was a smooth in that department and still puzzled how she did tidy the mess he left last night, and probably feeling a bit worse for wear. Women are astounding sometimes, he chuckled to himself. The kettle went on, as it always does, in a bowl of flakes. I said flakes, not anything else. Milk and toast. Noticing the carton of juice in the fridge, I think I'll have some of this, as it's my day, he thought to himself. This routine, less the juice, is what Jimmy did every morning, and the TV goes on for the early news. He noticed, they've changed the presenter this morning on the news. Oh, strange. As it was Friday, he listened to see what was going on in the world, and it brought a smile to his face. This morning they decided to mention the £7 million rollover for Saturday's draw. Jimmy's ears pricked up and turned his attention to the telly. Is this right? A rollover of £7 million on Saturday? Well, he said, this is my day, he said with a glint in his eye. It's a winning lotto ticket for me. All flushed, excited, stood up, put his arms up in the air and said, and relax. His breakfast by now had gone all soggy and the toast cold. Fortunately, the tea was still warm. He drank it down quickly and headed for the door. His briefcase was in the hall from the night before when he came in from work. He noticed a bit of takeaway dribbling down there, the case, so he wiped it off with his finger and grabbed a tissue from the box by the phone. Cleaning his hands, he thought, what numbers am I going to choose for this lotto game? Saturday morning came and everything was as usual, except he was going to the shops to pick up his winning lotto ticket. He skipped with eager anticipation out of the shop, clutching his ticket and with 6 special lucky numbers. Arriving home, his wife was up and doing breakfast for him. Noticed a smile in his face. She asked him, what have you been up to? Jimmy answered that he'd done the lotto today. His wife said, last of the big spenders. They both laughed. Do you want tea or coffee? She said. How was your evening out with the girls, darling? Replied Jimmy. Jimmy replied, it was great seeing all the girls, but she was a bit worse for wear. Jimmy gave that knowing smile. After an exhausting day battling against flows of shoppers on their Saturday spend-up, they both settled down to fish and chips in front of the telly. The evening went on, as it always does, watching their favourite programmes, Casualty, Come Dine With Me. Well, you know the picture. The lotto came on and Jimmy's heart started to flutter and there was a cold chill up his spine. He gripped his lotto ticket really tightly and it was all crumpled in his hand. The anxiety was nerve-shattering. The thunderball happened and went, and then it was the turn of the lotto. Best of luck, said the presenter, as they do. Each ball fell out in turn and Jimmy's face got more and more exciting. As each number came up, he said, shaking with disbelief, yes, yes, yes! To each ball that was drawn, they both jumped up and said, are you sure? Check the numbers, check the numbers! They both did. Could not believe their luck. Oh my God! Jesus, it's us, said Jimmy. I had a strange premonition on Friday morning. I said it, Jean. Well, Jean was speechless. Well, that's unusual for her. There was a calm and silent pause as they glared at each other in total disbelief. Should they keep this quiet for a while? Still holding that ticket, Jimmy said, early night to Jean? Oh, go on, Jean replied, grabbing his hand. Sunday morning came, and as he left the front door with a spring in his step, he made sure he had that ticket with him. He wasn't going to let it go. He thought to himself, I can finally buy the phone, and chuckled to himself. He walked to the shops in the calm and restful days. Was this for real? He crossed the busy road very carefully this morning. With a wry smile, he recalled what his mum used to say. Make sure you have a clean pair of underpants on, just in case you get run over. He chuckled to himself. He turned the corner and could see the shops in the distance. With a gleam in his eyes, he started to skip in happy, jovial way. Jimmy had lived a very modest life. He'd never so much cash in his entire life. He daydreamed of what he could buy and visualised a shocked expression on the bank manager's face when he handed over the cheque. He heard of people talking to investors to stop blowing it, but Jimmy was sensible with his cash. Always has been. His wife may have other ideas though. The shop door came up quickly and blazoned with adverts and posters, including a 7 million lotto poster. It's funny how these posters in the daily scheme of things get ignored, but not today. Today he noticed everything. He didn't want to ever forget today. Entering the shop, Jimmy pretended to peruse the latest offers and scan the magazine as they do. He approached Joyce, who works behind the counter. She greeted him with a jovial smile. How are you today? Jimmy returned his greeting with a nervous, good morning. He waited patiently as she tried to tempt him with the latest offers, including, as always, do you want stamps or mobile phone top-ups? He politely said, no. He handed over the ticket and announced that he thinks he has the winning ticket. He has all 6 numbers. Silence fell over the shop as faces turned towards him, including that nosy neighbour, Mrs. Jones, at number 24, and the skinny ginger-haired paperboy, Sam. A gasp came from Joyce as she fed the ticket into the machine. Jimmy's hands were clearly shaking. It rang out a winning tune. By now, a few more people had gathered in the shop, hearing the news, and gossip spread fast in the small community. Looking around at the faces in the shop, he wondered who would suddenly want to be his best friend and gain those 15 minutes of fame with him. It started printing the ticket receipt. George took it from the machine, looked at it, looked at Jimmy, and handed him the ticket. Oh my God, he said. He was absolutely aghast. And then Joyce handed over the money and won on the ticket. £1. There were 7 million other winners that day. Thank you.